Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen with another dev response video. We've had lead gameplay engineer at Cloud Imperium, Chad McKinney, once again answering a load of questions across multiple threads on Spectrum over the last few hours in regards to gameplay and development, and I wanted to go over some of them. Are we getting a better missile and ship item equipping system in the future? This whole flow is going to get re-examined with the move to physicalized inventory by the actor team. I don't want to speak too much for them on the design direction, but there is movement here. Will there be updates to the ASOP terminals and Mobiglass Vehicle Manager app allowing for filtering of ships instead of scrolling all the time? Will there be some ergonomic updates there? There are a lot of ways we could go about making large collections of ships easier to look at. We could group them by type, allow fuzzy search, player-based priority, etc. That said, most players in the game don't have so many ships where that's been a high priority enough to push on yet. That said, ASOP and hangar behavior is something we're looking at revisiting, and so your feedback is welcome. What will the current CPU optimizations that are being worked on actually do? Broadly speaking, the game is highly multi-threaded, by far the most multi-threaded game I've worked on, and yes, more cores will perform better. This will also improve as the game develops, as we are constantly pushing the game to work more in parallel. That said, the improvement won't map linearly, in a linear scale, to the number of cores. I can't say the word linearly, apparently. Wow, I literally can't. There was also a thread talking about agile development, the short-term sprint type of development that Star Citizen uses, that Chad responded to. I don't consider myself an expert in project management theory, so I may not be the best to answer this in the broad, but I can speak to my own experience in the industry. To date, all the projects I've worked on have all utilised some version of agile development. When I began at CIG, we did not. However, a couple of years in, there was a big shift towards agile, with parts of the company doing either Scrum, feature teams, or Kanban, which appears to be a sort of like job and management tool thing where you have tasks that you just tick off when you've completed them, and also deals with basically content pipelines. We do have our own twist on things as we divide up the company using what we call pillars, each with their own director who reports to Chris. That said, I'm not sure in the big picture we've really evolved agile practices in some novel way, but again, I'm not an expert in this domain. There was some clarification of traveling between server meshes and server meshing instances in the future. A particular mesh of servers, what we refer to as a shard, is completely enclosed from each other, and you cannot automatically transition from one shard to another. They are independent simulations with their own view of the persistent state of the world. So just to put that quickly in context, basically the shards are what they're working towards with server meshing, and then they're going to try and increase the size of the shard, and obviously the sort of like primary goal would be to get everyone into a single shard if possible, but if it has to be regional shards or something like that, they will talk about that once they sort of like see what the tech will actually allow them to do. There were a series of questions asking when will getting disconnected from the game mean that we can reconnect without losing our ship and cargo and character persistence. With iCache and global persistence, we'll be maintaining server/shard histories beyond the lifetime of the servers. This will allow us to do things like full recovery after a server crash. This may not be part of the first rollout of the system, but it is something that we've been keeping in consideration throughout our design and implementation. As far as freight, in addition to the global persistence and reconnect behavior, we have long intended to have cargo and item insurance to further protect against both gameplay behavior as well as bugs. This is why, when we introduced more ship persistence in 3.0, we got ship insurance in the same release, otherwise bugs and crashes would have been too punishing. This is also another reason why we've introduced the long-term persistent database. Vending machines, will they work someday? Work has been done on vending machines for things like the prisons, and there's more work to come as well as for general vending machine behavior. Obviously, they sort of work in prisons, kind of, sometimes. Also, the persistence of food and drink items, for example, already persist in ships once they're left there, those items. Chad clarified some points of the client-side object container streaming, tick rates, and entity states. Client-side object container streaming allows us to stream out entities on the client so they don't update at all, and does not affect the server behavior whatsoever, so they can decide to turn those off if they want to. There is a separate entity component update that handles updating spawned entities, and this allows for many various configurations to optimize performance, including distance to players, player visibility, time ranges, etc. But this update policy will be the same on the server and the client for any given entity component. Also on states being updated when a player enters an area. Does this cause snapping or rubber banding? How does the sort of server go, there's a new entity here, or we need to reactivate this entity without causing disruption to the player when it's like out of sync? The most straightforward approach will just snap to the server state on the client, but programmers can always make more sophisticated systems that handle things like interpolation, etc., to make the client behavior look more natural. This is part of the work for the actor network changes. Player movement and animation is something people are highly attuned to seeing flaws in. You also have to take into consideration the impact on gameplay. For example, your Dead Reckoning implementation may end up favoring people shooting rather than people getting shot, where a server discrepancy occurs. And that's it from Chad today, but what do you think? I'm really hoping that we do get very server authoritative, non-janky, non-sort of rubber bandy issues with servers in the future. I mean, I think the networking rework obviously is a big part of that, but general network updates that are coming and server meshing and all this sort of jazz. It needs to be in a state eventually where you don't have to worry about, well, did my hit register on the other dude I was shooting at, or did it look like it hit but didn't hit? Oh, I hate that in games. I hate hit reg. Urgh. And clients being authoritative, that's just really, really annoying. Are you looking forward to the updates coming to Star Citizen with its Gen 12 renderer and better scalability for CPUs and hardware in general? Do you think we will see cargo saved and better server recovery in the near future? With server meshing, do you think they'll eventually be able to have a single shard with everyone in it, or is there going to be latency and ping problems? Are they going to be too prohibitive? So maybe, do you think they're always going to have sort of regional servers? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What am I shilling for today, I hear you ask? Do you hate it when people steal all of your money and your house over the internet? I know I do. NordVPN may have been invented by wizards to help protect your personal data from the prying eyes of the dark web, a sinister cabal of technomancers that grow in power the more they know about your browsing habits. The true story of NordVPN's origins are unknown and lost to the ages, and without using facts, no one really knows how it provides more accessibility to otherwise censored websites or a safer security experience for all that use it. All I know is that it does, and that when you sign up to it, the power level of my bank account grows, and I use it, and maybe you should too. Every month we have a giveaway for a Star Citizen ship. For this month of September, it's for the Talon Night Fighter, the Battlebird Glass Cannon. Just comment on any of my videos made during September 2020 to be in for a chance of winning that. That ship should be flyable by the end of the year. If you'd like to further support the channel, there is Patreon or YouTube channel memberships via the join button down below. That will net you some exclusive content each month, but sharing videos, liking, subscribing, dinging the bell, as well as commenting and giving feedback really does help the channel to grow and give me an idea of what you guys want. Thanks very much for watching, you take care, and I'll see you in the verse.